And that might be true that you did also put on that it's about you, but I would also suggest that it doesn't have to be that you as a child even felt that it was about you. It's more about maintaining a feeling of safety in the home,
Sure.
right? Even if you didn't know okay. As an adult, you can look back and say, okay, but he only spanked me once. He didn't know it. But you didn't know as a 5-year-old what the future moment was going to hold.
Right.
He's angry. The next moment could be dangerous.
I
We're
see.
always putting ourselves in the middle of it, whether we intentionally create a story out of it or not. If there is turmoil in the house, I feel unsafe. That's what it boils down to. So as a kid, anybody in the house that is screaming, slamming doors, getting angry, whatever, it creates that feeling of unsafety because it's unpredictable. Somebody is evidencing some emotion, which sometimes can lead to violence outwardly. Otherwise, it might lead to something more subtle, like him withholding of affection from you. When he's angry, he doesn't say, "Nice job, Darrell. You're a good kid." When our other people who we live with are acting in a way that's uh, frustrated, sad, angry, any of the classically negative emotions, their response to us is going to be different.
Right.
The whole attitude, the whole vibe of the house, the whole feeling of all of that is going to be different. And you'll be very sensitive to that. And as a little kid, you have no ability to really control it, but you're going to try to do everything that you can to try to keep a sense of stability and calm and peace in the house. And so a lot of people grow up to be these kind of people-pleasing types who want to soothe everything around them even if it doesn't directly affect us the way that you were describing, it still affects us because they are uncomfortable, which means I feel unsafe. There's like an implied lack of safety and okayness when Susanna is depressed and sad. That leaves you feeling somehow vulnerable. So it's not that
Yeah.
she's upset at you, but you're in a vulnerable state because you don't know what's going to happen with her. Right? She might get angry at you. She might say she's leaving. Any number of things can happen because when people are upset, there's an element of unpredictability involved.
Right.
So usually this comes down to kind of that feeling of unsafety or a feeling of just needing to be able to kind of protect and control the situation. So even though it feels maybe like a very altruistic thing that we do, that oh, well, when I see other people and they're sad, I just have to cheer them up. Look inside. You probably feel uncomfortable with them expressing that emotion.
Oh, I see it already. I
Yeah,
see that I'm uncomfortable, and I see that what I'm doing isn't altruistic. I'm trying to make them feel better
exactly.
because I'm trying to, if they feel better, then I feel better.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
this is crystal clear at this point.
Yep, exactly. And that's amazing. That's great. So just be aware then, what is it exactly that you feel when other people are feeling or expressing emotions which are, make you feel uncomfortable? How exactly does that show up in the body? What emotion are you feeling when other people are sad or angry or despondent?
And so when it comes to the question of how does it feel in the body,
Mhm.
um, then that's if possible, take the time to go get someplace where I can have some silence and just feel into that feeling, like you were saying earlier, where
Yeah.
I mean, breaking it down to the atomic level.
Yep. Yep. And even in the moment, if you're in the room with her and she's being a certain way, just see if you can tune into that discomfort that you have and feel like we kind of start with the outer layer and then work our way in. So when you're in that situation with her, you can feel, okay, it's not just discomfort. Specifically, I feel a little bit unsafe right now. I feel a little bit anxious. I feel a little bit, I don't, do you have a sense of like what the emotion is that you feel when you're in the room with Susanna and she's expressing her grief and how upset she is? What is the emotion that you feel in response to that?
Hmm. Well, I don't think that it's any less true, but without meaning to, you kind of preconditioned it because
Mm,
that's all I can really see is that I don't feel secure.
mm, yeah.
I feel at risk.
Yep. Good. So when you are there with her in that moment and you start to feel that at riskness, feel exactly how it feels in the body to be at risk.
Hmm.
Are you having, first of all, are you having thoughts, right? Like what is it about this moment that is giving you the indication that you are at risk? Are you having thoughts about what might happen in the coming moments? Are you having specific sensations in the body? And then if so, notice what those sensations are, again, in the ways that we've been talking about, so that you can recognize that this is just a state of being that shows up in the body when in certain situations. This does not indicate for sure that I am unsafe. This is
Yeah,
just something that, is an old holdover that in certain situations, the body responds with these particular patterns of chemicals, hormones, and contractions in the muscles. This is what it feels like, or this is what I remember it felt like when I felt unsafe in the past. Check in. This is what I'm feeling right now. Is it true that I'm unsafe? Just because the sensation is here, is it relevant to the situation? Can I be with it? Do I need to distract from it or make it go away? Because if we're calming her and doing something to make her feel better, the idea is ultimately that it will change her behavior going forward so that I won't be injured or, damaged by it in some way. But it's also making it so that I won't have to feel this state of discomfort anymore.
right. And that I
I
can feel secure.
Exactly. So I can feel secure because this goes away. I felt secure a moment ago. Now I'm seeing her grieving, sensations in the body. All of a sudden I feel insecure. Well, that's odd, right? It wasn't like you probably didn't have a feeling or a thought of security before that sensation of insecurity appeared. It's just by comparison that we say, this feels insecure. So I must have been secure before, and there must be a state of security that I'm going to get after this goes away. But there's an assumption that we're using to where it's an assumption that we're attaching to that particular web of sensations. Instead, we can look at them and just say, this is just a sensation that arises in certain situations. I can be with it. Can ask yourself, can I be with it? You'll probably find that you can. If you can, just feel what it feels like to have that sensation in the body without it meaning that you are unsafe. Because you don't know that. It doesn't tell you anything true. It's just when you see a person who's behaving a certain way, you feel a certain sensation in the body. It's a protection. Thank you. I appreciate you trying to protect me. It's okay. I can feel this. I can be with this and I can be with Susanna and do whatever she needs, not because I'm trying to fix myself or because I'm trying to fix her, but just to be there for her out of compassion. Then it doesn't matter. I can act compassionately and still feel the sense of unsafety because it's okay. The body still feels unsafe, or the body still feels whatever it's felt in the past and it's coming out now. So we can be kind. You can put your hand on your heart. You can, it's okay. We're safe. I've got this. You're okay. You can relax. You can let it know. You can talk to it like that inner child that didn't know that the next moment wasn't going to come with a beating or that the next moment, was going to come with a pat on the head. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So we're letting the system know that these things are helpful in certain situations. You're, in a dangerous part of the neighborhood at night and you see something, somebody's approaching you or whatever. It's normal to get that feeling of like, oh, okay, I need to be able to run now. That's useful in life. Having your wife grieving over a dog and then feeling like you're unsafe because she's showing emotion, that's something that's not as adapted to daily life. It's not as practical. So for that, you can be like, oh, it's okay. You're safe. I can relearn the behavior of what it's like to be around people as an adult, to be around people who are experiencing emotions. Right? Because what happens is we're still basically approaching adults who are having emotions from that state of the vulnerable child.
Hmm.
Now we need to relearn what it's like to approach other equal adults from that state of being an equal adult. We're not in the same place of vulnerability that we were then.
And I wonder if it's worth noting to myself, in the interest of helping to create a foundation for a sense of security, that 99.9% of the time when I experience that feeling of being unsafe in response to someone else having strong emotions, that nothing happened.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. And it's super relevant both to remember that and this did not lead to anything the last time, did not lead to any other time I can remember, outside of maybe one or two in the certain highlights. But remembering in the moment now that I'm actually safe. I am safe even with somebody else across the room crying. I am safe with somebody else across the room yelling. There is nothing inherently dangerous even in that moment. Obviously, somebody's waving a gun around. Yeah, it's different. But um, but within reason, we tend to overly dramatize the danger of a moment when we are actually safe. But it's because we're coming from that same very young, immature starting point where adults are these huge creatures up there that are, you know, capricious mentalities. We have no idea what the hell they're going to do from one moment to another. They could be, it's just absolutely uh, loving and wonderful one moment, and the next they're throwing a pot across the room. Like, we don't know. And so that leaves us feeling really vulnerable. Now we have to realize we're on eye level. The people who we're with, it's a different
Mm.
situation. We're not looking up to them anymore. We're looking straight ahead.
Well, you probably remember my telling you this several sessions back, and it's still a work in progress with regard to what we wound up talking about that. um, but I've mentioned to you how with people my own age, I don't see
Mhm.
myself as
Yeah.
being like, I remember one time when I first noticed this, when it first became clear to me. I was talking to a woman at the grocery store, and I noticed that she was an older woman,
Yeah.
somewhere in her 50s, maybe her 60s, and I was seeing her as older than me, and I was younger, and didn't see myself
Yeah.
as somebody who has experienced and had lived life, and then it hit me, we're pretty close to being the same age, and you see
So,
yourself as coming from, you know,
yep.
whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So this is really updating. It's coming to terms with this is actually adulthood. That is adulthood. We're at the same height. The ways that I've been viewing other people and other situations was from a very diminutive perspective. Now we can expand to take up the full space.
Well, it seems to me that part of the process of updating requires um, getting, uh, it's going to necessitate being able to um, get some sense of security in these situations where other people are upset in whatever way.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really noticing like, okay, actually, That person is upset and I'm still safe. That person is upset and I'm still safe. I can handle this. I feel sensations in the body. It's okay that they're there. I can handle those sensations. I'm a big boy. Yay. Yeah. Having that ability to really recognize this does not need to be a certain way. This does not need to change. Whatever sensations come up in certain situations, they don't dictate the reality of the situation. They don't need to change for
Mhm.
me to be okay. And they don't say that I'm not okay just because they're there.